Hello friends, welcome or welcome back to A Moon Phases. My name is Chivis and today we're starting the part 2 of our moon cross stitch pattern project. Part 2 is starting about 6 days after I started the original project, which was last Sunday. And today is Sunday again. So almost a full week. I'll give you guys an update of how much I've put in so far. I think a monthly update would be good. Again, cross stitching is a very slow process. A lot slower than I would like, but it's very, very enjoyable. So I think once a month would be great to see how long it takes us. I am still currently taking down the time that I work on it by the hour. So let's get into that. I have encountered a few problems that I want to discuss and things that I've learned along the way. But before we get started, if you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe, enable that notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time that I upload a video. And if at any point throughout this video you like what you see, make sure that you hit that like button. It is free and it helps a lot. Let's get started. Alrighty, first things first. Let's talk about the amount of time that I put into this project in the past 6 days. In hours, it's been a total of about 11 hours and 24 minutes, give or take a few minutes because I forget to enable the timer or, things like that happen. But let's round it up. Let's say about 11 hours and a half that I've been working on this project. Now, my goal before the end of this update is to have the first page complete. Let me explain to you what I mean by pages. I'm not sure if I already did. I probably didn't, but let me explain to you what I mean by pages. So as you guys know, I am working on it with my tablet, and the pattern comes in different pages, right? So this would be the top row out of 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to say maybe 4 or 5, more or less. Something like that. I don't know how to count. But this is the first page that I'm currently working on. And if you guys notice, the color is pretty much the same all the way down, which is what is kind of used for the background color or the dark. It's a dark green. And that's kind of what we use throughout the whole background of this project. But here's where I'm currently at. Drum roll, please. 11 hours of work down to this. So here is where the first page ends. And here is where the first page ends. Yes, I have extended it a little bit, but just to kind of carry the threads along. You guys notice here. But this is where the first page is cut off, and this is where the bottom of that first page is. So again, my goal is to finish all of these inner squares and this border all the way down to that rectangle to match the first page on the pattern. And yeah, I think in a month it may be possible. A few things that I've learned so far. It's a lot easier when it's a single color because you literally just go row by row by row by row. Sometimes I do get bored and I challenge myself and I try to finish it within 2 minutes, 3 minutes, or I'll go like across horizontally and then the next one I'll do a few vertical lines up and down and then I'll go horizontal again. I just try to entertain myself as much as I can. But I've encountered one problem. Pause before I get to that. So I have worked with these 2 hoops mostly. This is my 7-inch. This is my 8-inch. And I honestly don't know which one I prefer the most as of right now. They've worked fairly well. They do mark the fabric, unfortunately, but I think that kind of goes with every frame that I'm going to put on it. So not really complaining about that one. Not really much I can do about that. So I've used this 8-inch. I do have a 10-inch. I stayed away from the 4-inch. That wasn't going to help me. And the 6-inch ones are currently 5 or 6-inch ones are still currently being occupied by the other two projects that I haven't finished as of right now. As of right now. So I'm still trying to get a rectangular frame if possible. Again, my mind keeps going back to that one frame that I saw this girl, I believe it was on TikTok, make for screen printing, which is also needs to have stretched fabric or a stretched screen for it to work properly. So I was thinking that maybe that might be a resource to help. First of all, put the fabric on, and then help keep it taut as well, or keep it stretched. Now, the size of the project is getting in the way a little bit. I still have it folded. This is how I work on it. I just lift this part up, and that's what I'm currently working on it. So it's worked because it's the edge. I'm kind of wondering how it's gonna look, or how I'm gonna be able to get around that once I get to the middle sections. But I guess that's a bridge we'll cross when we get to those middle sections. I'm not worrying about it too much right now. I'm still able to transport it this way. Like, I'll put it in a little bag and carry it with me. Even with the hoop on, it hasn't been much of an issue. However, what has been an issue is these fraying edges. Sorry, I just hit the mic. If you notice here, specifically the one that I am currently having to manipulate a lot has frayed quite a bit. Especially, I think this is the spot where it's frayed the most. Right here. So, as I was researching, and I YouTubed a few videos. I just Google searched to see what was the best answer that I would get on how to keep the fabric from fraying. And there was a few suggestions that I saw, or a few techniques that I saw. I have picked one, not the easiest or best one, but I have picked one. But let me run through a few of the ones that I saw and why I'm not using those. So one of them was masking tape. That would be the easiest. It would be the quickest. However, I only left an inch off of each of the edges. I believe it's a little bit more on the top and the bottom, or the right and the left. I don't know. But I do want to make sure that I still have enough area around it to be able to frame it once I'm done with it. Obviously, I would need to look for a frame that is closest to the number. I don't have it. I think it's going to be like a 24 won't fit it, because it's a little bit over 24, unless I kind of cut the border off a little bit. But 24 by 36 might be the one. But again, with the masking tape, first of all, I wouldn't be able to take it off because it's gonna peel off. I mean, as it is, I just look at it and threads start to fall off. So that's not one that I wanted to use. Fabric glue is also an option that I saw. However, that means I would have to let it dry for a while, and I think it's too big of a piece to be able to. I mean, I could do it parts at a time, but I think it's just going to be a little bit too messy. I wouldn't want to do that. I know it's going to hold the edges fairly well, but I don't know. That's one that I was considering to see how it would work. Maybe try it out just a little bit at the beginning, and see how it goes from there. There was another one where people used sergers, the machines, to be able to just stitch the edge around it. However, I don't own a serger. And I know that as a second option, people said to use a cross stitch. No, not a cross stitch, a zigzag stitch around the edge. However, I could do that. I don't feel like it though. I don't feel like setting up the machine just to get that. It probably would be the easiest. I may give it a try. I don't know. And the other one that I saw was to do a blanket stitch all the way around. Yes, it's going to take time, but I already have all the things that I'm using anyway. I have the needle that I'm going to be using, that I have been using, sorry. I have embroidery floss, which isn't going to be as visible, so it really doesn't matter which color I use, and I was planning on using this one. At least for this first edge, I think, which is the top edge, I think I am going to use the blanket stitch around it. The videos that I saw, people were using regular thread, but I am going to do a single strand of embroidery floss. And then maybe on the longest edge, because I haven't cut off the selvage edge here, that has helped this side from fraying. However, I do have the counter edge, which is this is the longest edge if I were to unfold it. So yeah, this way. It's doubled up, so it would be the longest edge going vertically. I may use it for that one, just to give it a try to see how it looks. But I think for now, I'm just going to go ahead and do the blanket stitch up top. And depending on how the zigzag stitch works, I may do that for the bottom edge or just continue with the embroidery floss blanket stitch all the way around. So again, up until now, day 6, that's where we are. Again, you won't see this video until February, mid-February, possibly. So in about 2 or 3 weeks. Just FYI, so you guys have a notion of time. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead. I already cut a piece of the embroidery floss, the green one. Let me wrap this up because it's getting tangled. And then I'm gonna do a single strand, so I'm just gonna peel off one little of these strands. Alright, so here's where I'm currently at. One string. So I'm doing very similar to what I'm doing here, which is taking one, folding it in half, and then just sewing across. I did make a knot here, and I'm going to continue going all the way to make it back to this area on the back fabric. So this is where we are so far. I think it's going to take about 2 or 3. Well, technically I would end up over here because it's going to go all the way around. I think I'm going to need about two more or 3 more of the threads, but this is how it's going so far. Again, obviously this looks a lot shorter because we've already lost a lot of that from the fraying. So if you notice the difference from here to here, but hopefully now this will prevent it from fraying because it's going to be holding the fabric in place. So obviously this is going to be a lot longer depending, but yeah, here's where we are so far. We're going to continue going all the way around, and then I'll show you guys once it's all done. We had a little bit of a coffee incident, but hopefully that'll get covered up. All right, this is currently where we are. We got, with the second strand, we got all the way to this part here. I'm leaving more or less of a longer strand to be able to connect the other one here. I don't connect it directly to this one, but I do hide it in between, as you can see a little bit here, where it kind of just right there. Grabs it with the other thread. But yeah, here's where we are so far. I'm gonna leave it for now. I could continue doing the rest, but meh. We're worried about continuing what we have here. Again, don't look at it. Don't look at it. I had a bit of a coffee spill on my table, and sadly, luckily that was the only part that got dirty, and not the whole thing. But I think once we stitch over it, you won't be able to see it anyway. And I am gonna wash it once it's done. So, yep, here's where we are. I may to these parts that are a little bit looser, I may add a little bit of that fabric glue just so it doesn't continue to pull more. I know that's something I probably should have researched earlier, but I did not. But we found a solution for it, and I think it looks pretty well overall. In between, I counted three stitches, or three little dots, three little holes, and I think it looks overall well. Now we're able to continue with this. I'll give you guys an update once we are a little bit more advanced. Again, this would be day 7 of working on the project. It is a little bit late, but I'm going to try and get at least something done. Probably filling out this area down here. Time for a weekly update. Today is Sunday again, and I believe this would mark the second full week that we've been working on this project. It is the third Sunday, but that first Sunday doesn't work because that's the Sunday we started working on it, right? We did all the prep and everything. So technically this would be this full second week. I think we've done pretty good. I would need to go back and check on the recordings to see exactly where we have been. But here's where we are so far. Remember, down here is our first page, as I explained on the tablet pattern. And this is the end of our first page. Yes, we still have a few stitches in between. All that is a different color floss. All of this, for the most part, the majority of it is all this green, or the background color. But this is how we're looking so far. I am very, very happy. I have been switching between loops. You guys can see the markings there. I almost bit the bullet and bought the square one, but I'm not fully convinced. I'm not fully convinced yet. I've been working on it just fine this way. The solution that we had for the fraying has been working well throughout this week. We haven't gotten to this part, so it doesn't look too bad. And I stopped right about here because I still haven't gotten to this other edge. But here is where we are so far. I think we're doing good. Again, based on the goals that I've set myself, I want to have this page done by when this video goes up, which would be mid or the third week of February. I decided to be doing monthly updates. If that is the case, calculating, and if I am able to keep up with the pace, I would take about 16 months to finish this, because it's a total of 4 pages across and then 4 pages down. However, the last row of pages is not even halfway of what we have here. I think it's like a third of it, maybe. So, I mean, my goal would probably, hopefully, be to finish it by the end of the year. It may be a little bit ambitious. I do know that I have vacations throughout coming up here and there, a few days off, a week when we have holidays and all that. However, I am also working on other projects at the same time, as you guys have seen in the channel. But here's where we are. Again, I think we're on track. By now, we, I guess, should be about halfway done. And this particular week, I haven't had enough time to work on it. The first full week, I did work on it at least. I try to work on it at least an hour every day. There was one day where I only worked on it about 20 minutes. But this week, there was 2 days out of the week that I didn't get a chance to work on it. Because I was busy and just doing other stuff. But also, it has been very, very hard because I am training for a half marathon and there's a plan that I'm following. So that takes up a little bit of my time as well. But it is at the end of February. Well, technically, it is the 2nd of March. So after March, we'll have a little bit more time to plow through this. I don't want to rush to get it done, but I'm very excited to see it completed. So I kind of do want to rush to get it done because I just want to see it done. I want to see it completed. I'm very, very excited of how it's going to look. But so far, this is where we are. Um, a single little square does not take me 40 minutes anymore. I have gotten a little bit faster. Um, and yeah, I like it. I do. I'm using 2 needles now. This one currently has black, which I have not been using. And then the empty one does have the green is what I use it for. These empty strands are for the second page. As you see, I've already cut into it a little bit. But yeah, I like it. I like how it looks. I will continue to work on it this week. Hopefully, I have a little bit more time. I don't seem to be as busy this week, I think, with work. So hopefully, I'll have a little bit more time, at least every day, a few minutes here and there. Again, I try. My goal is to work on it at least an hour. Sometimes I carry on and I do 2 or 3 hours. But here's where we are so far. I will see you guys again next Sunday. Happy update. I was supposed to do it yesterday. Yesterday was Sunday. Today is Monday. It's okay. One day off. I believe we have one more week before the actual update. I would need to look up the time on how much I've been working on this so far. This past week, I think I only worked on it about 2 or 3 days. Again, Friday is usually the day that I have to work on it a little bit more. White still remains the same. However, I have started to fill out most of this. This is still this background color. I'm just going to fill this out. And then we have these remaining squares down here, which seem to be quite a bit. The majority of it is the same. I think it's like an algae green color that needs to be filled in. But this is where we are so far. Week 3? 4. I'll know once I'm editing the video. But here's where we are so far. I just wanted to give you guys a quick update. Let me look up real quick how much ballpark hours I've been working on this. And hopefully by next week, I really don't think I'm going to be completely done with it. Which means we may not get to the goal that we have of doing 1 page per month. But we'll see. We'll see how far we can get on it. Alrighty, so doing my math, I think I've been working on this about 15 hours total. Ballpark, between 15 and 16 hours. And this is what we have. So if we were to make any predictions, we know that it's going to take us quite a bit. I may be off on my math. I really don't know. But this is how our filling in is looking. Again, this is the white part that we're missing here on the edge, and then all of this bottom part here. And if you notice, most of it is the same color or the same symbol, which is equals the same color. So yeah, that translates to this. And again, this would be the edge up to here. Well, technically up to here. And yeah, we'll see how much more we can get done. Today is Monday. I do have off today. I have off next Monday. So hopefully I'm able to, I don't know, put in a little bit more work. Even though I do get busy through these days that I have off, I know that I have to. I've been wanting to get that sewing room ready, and I just haven't had a chance. I have a few other projects that I need to get done. There's a sloth that I need to make before in about 3 weeks, so I need to get that done as well. Those are my top priorities right now. Everything else is just like projects that I'm working on here and there. So yeah, that's what we're going to go ahead and leave it for this update. And then I'll see you guys next week again. Hopefully we're a lot further ahead. Fingers crossed. Today is February 15th. It is Sunday, and I'm giving you the last Sunday update before this video goes up. This video will be uploaded next Sunday, which will be the 23rd, I believe, somewhere along those lines. But here's where we currently stand with our project. Unfortunately, we did not get to complete what we wanted to complete. We did come a long way, I believe, from where we originally started. These two white panels are still missing. However, we have been working our way on the inside. And I've kind of just been working on the ones that are complete because they're the easier ones to get through. I think the first week was the week that I originally worked on it the most. Ever since then, I've had things to do. I've been busy. So I haven't been able to put as much time as I would like. I know I was putting about 2-ish hours per night, and I haven't been able to do that in a while. I know that I did put in a few hours, usually do it on the weekends more. Friday nights, Saturday nights is when I kind of have free time and I'm just, watching a show, watching a soccer game, and I'm just stitching away. And that's why the full panels are the ones that help me a little bit more. Again, this is the first page of the pattern document. So the next one would be, we would be moving on to this side. I was hoping and planning that we could do 1 page per month. Obviously, we figured that out, that it may not be possible, but there are some months where I have time off that I may be able to catch up a little bit. I know coming up in March, we have spring break. And then after May, mid-April to May, we go on summer break. So those months when I don't have much work, I do like to travel though. So that may be something that you kind of counteracts with this, unless I take it with me and I'm working on it. But I do know there are more other projects that I would like to also work on. So officially today, February 15th, I'm clocking it for this video. And then starting tonight or tomorrow, we'll be on the next update video, which will come out at the end of March. Let me calculate the hours that I have so far. Let me go ahead and do all that math, and then I'll come back and I'll give you the number of what we've been working on so far in the month of end of January to now. If my calculations are correct, I have been working on this project so far in about a month, 15 days out of the month. And so far, we have a total of 19 hours and 26 minutes. And that is from about January 14th-ish to about February 15th. Well, 14th, because I haven't worked on it today. That's more or less a time frame. Again, today is the 15th, and this video will be going up next Sunday. But this next week that I'm going to be working on it, that's going to go into next month's video. So I'll see you guys in a month with another update of how our project is going. Hopefully we're done with that section that we've been working on. And I don't know. I know it seems very boring right now because it's all the same color. Again, if you notice here, this is what we've been working on. I do go and highlight everything as I'm going. The next page is a lot of the same, but we do start to see the letters coming in, and then the moon starts on page 3. Well, you can see a little bit of a corner right there. So it is a lot of just repetition, especially with the same color, but we'll see. Starting again, sheet 2, 3, 4, 5 is a lot of the same, and then 6 is just a partial one. I don't know if the changing of color is going to take longer than what it has now, because with the color, I literally just go through, go. The color finishes up, we switch it, we get a new strand, go, get a new strand, go, instead of having to count and see, oh, well, this, these are different colors, these are different things that we need to be paying attention to. So we'll see how that goes. I ended up ordering the bigger square frames. I don't know how that's going to work. I know they're not as big as this project is, but we'll see how we can maneuver the fabric to try and get it to, I don't know, fit correctly. The only thing is, because I don't like the markings that the hoop is leaving. That's the only thing that I'm see a downfall right now. Yes, it has stains, but we're not going to talk about that because those are going to go out once I embroider over them. And again, I am going to wash this project once it's done to remove any of the lines that I made. I did switch back to the pen, the heat transfer pen, well, the friction one. I did start on gridding the other sides of the fabric so far, and I have continued the bordering on the edge just for frame purposes, because if you notice here, the parts that are not stitched do tend to fray compared to these. So I just want to make sure that I get through all of that, so I don't continue to have the fraying of the fabric all over, because I do manipulate it a lot. It's something that I have to do whether I like it or not, simply because, well, I have to hold it. Another thing that I have noticed, or now that I'm starting to get more to the center portions of it, this frame is a little bit hard to hold. Yesterday I was trying to stitch along these center, or these lines over here that are closer to the center of the fabric, and it was a little bit hard. I had to kind of like hold it from the underside, but pinching the same fabric, just so I can hold up the hoop and continue to stitch that way. So we'll see how it's gonna work as we continue to travel more to the center of the fabrics. Again, as a reminder, this is how wide it is, and so it's quite wide. And then this is how long it is supposed to be, give or take an inch or so that I added for edge purposes. I'm thinking now that I should have left a little bit more, probably another inch or so, but we'll see how it goes. Here is this top line is where the actual image is, so I do have about an inch over that, which I'm not too worried about. I still don't know how I'm going to frame this once it's completed, but we're a long way from that, a very long way from that. So yeah, here is the update for the first month. We'll see how we progress. We'll see how we continue to work through this. Obviously I do have other videos as I'm continuing to work on growing the channel. I've been doing a little bit of crochet, been doing a little bit of sewing here and there. I have some more interesting projects coming along, but definitely I will continue to do the monthly updates for this one. So for this project, I will see you guys in March. If you guys enjoyed this video so far, please make sure you hit that like button, enable that notification bell, that way you'll be notified every time that I upload a video. And if you haven't already, please make sure that you subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.